How we doing, everybody? Welcome to our channel. Today we're going to keep you from a little bit of trouble by informing you on 10 things not to do when trying to purchase a home. But before we get into it, if you could, hit the subscribe button here at the bottom right hand corner of the video. Thank you. Now, rule number 1. Don't make any other major purchases. First and foremost, it increases your DTI, your debt to income ratio. Your DTI is highly evaluated throughout the home buying process. A poor DTI ratio can cause you to lose a deal on your home. Additionally, it reduces your monthly take-home pay. Now you have less money available to go towards the mortgage. Rule number 2. Don't spend the closing cost money. Buying a house is a bit different from other products. Other products, you see what you want, you start the monthly payments up with a snap of a finger. When buying a house, it's a long process, maybe a few months long, that incurs fees along the way. Once it's all said and done, and you're ready to put your signature on the house, they'll ask that you pay all the fees you've incurred throughout the process at the closing. That usually adds up to about 3 to 5% of the purchase price, and we'll break down each fee in another video. But if you can't come up with the closing costs, well, you can't close on the house, buddy. Sorry about your luck. Rule number 3. Try not to change jobs while you're buying. I know your boss and your coworkers are getting on your last nerves, but just keep giving them the bird behind their back until you sign and pay that closing cost. Reason being, while buying a home, you need to show consistency. Give them the bird in front of their face and get fired, and now you start raising red flags on your home buying process. Uh-oh. Rule number 4. Don't be controlled by emotions. Reason number 1, if you're buying a home as a resale, which is what most of us do, then chances are it's not perfect. If the seller doesn't want to make a repair, don't worry too much about it. Instead, use that fix as leverage to demand a lower purchase price on the house. At the same time, don't accept every fix. Know when to stand your ground. Rule number 5. Don't forget about the utilities. Find out how much lead time you need to transfer the utilities before you move into the house. The last thing you want is to be moved into your home and having to wait 10 days before you can use the toilet. Rule number 6. Asset protection. Insurance. You need to know what type of insurance you need to protect yourself from disasters. Your area may have forest fires, or if you're in a coastal region, you may have flooding. When the rainy days come up, you want to be best prepared so you're unbothered. Check for items such as if you're in a flood zone. And if you are, go ahead and get yourself a flood elevation certificate so that way you can keep these insurance prices as low as possible. Lastly, do some shopping around and ask a few different insurance companies for a quote so you can get the best deal on your insurance. Rule number 7. Don't offend the seller. Good rule of thumb, keep the conversation with the seller at a minimum. Use a real estate agent, a good real estate agent at that. Let them know what your questions are prior to meeting up with the seller. Do a little bit of planning. If something does come up that you guys hadn't planned originally, try to stick the accent for straight facts. And by all means, stay away from opinionated comments. Let's say you're trying to buy a house and you notice the neighbor's car and you say, "Man, that piece of junk sure is ugly." Well, that piece of junk may have just so happened to be the seller's father's car, and he sold it to the neighbor just before he passed away. Uh-oh. Or, let's say something a little bit more subtle. Like, I'll probably repaint the entire house. It'll cost me a fortune, but I gotta get this atrocious color out of here. Well, guess what? Chances are the seller probably picked the color, so they may get offended of your intentions with the house. Best to just keep your intentions sacred. You know what I mean? Rule number 8. Don't panic if the appraisal is low. Instead, use it as a negotiation tool in hopes to get a lower price for the house. Rule number 9. Don't do it alone. First off, find a good real estate agent. We'll have another video on how to do that, but having a bad agent is the same as doing it by yourself. If you have a friend that deals with real estate in any capacity, it'd be a great idea to see if they could tag along while you're doing some house hunting. If you can't bring someone that's already in the real estate market, anyone will do. 2 set of eyes are better than 1, if you ask me. If all fails, then you should always have some type of notepad and pencil handy so you can ask around and contemplate on decisions later on. Last rule, rule number 10, don't ignore the lending requirements. Throughout the process, a lender will ask you for lots of information. A matter of fact, they'll probably ask you for a second and a third time. Don't ignore them or get upset. You can't close until they have their part done. So just have a little patience. So let's run this through one last time. Rule number 1, don't make another purchase. Number 2, don't spend any closing cost money. Number 3, don't change jobs. 4, don't let emotions take over. 5, don't forget to switch those utilities. 6, don't forget to line up your insurance. 7, don't offend the seller. 8, don't panic about the appraisal. 9, get a good agent. Don't do it alone. Grab a friend. And 10, don't ignore the lending requirements. Alright, if you enjoyed these tips, go ahead and subscribe to our page. We have lots of great information we're going to be releasing. Also, if there's any specific topics you want to know more about, leave us a comment below. This is Free Game University, the one-stop shop. Valuable information, 100% free. Thanks for watching. Until next time.